Alright guys, welcome back to VALORANT News with Master Shanghai officially now getting underway. Lots of reactions to some Rostermania going down in various regions around the world, especially on the NRG side. More evidence indicating today that s0m could well be, if not is, joining that NRG roster very shortly indeed. Only controller play in his ranked over the last couple of days and spotted off-stream playing with Ethan, Victor and Crashies. NRG teasing the return. Multiple reasons to believe this could be the case over the coming days. Very much interested in your thoughts in the comments. Hit the like button if you enjoy. Subscribe if you're new, as always, I would greatly appreciate it. This is just a joke that's been going around actually around Sadak, of course, who, well, we know that Pankada has had these health problems that have been going around that have prevented him from, joining Furia and other things. Now, the belief would be that Loud, if they want to actually become a contender again, quite possibly need to sign Pankada back and, of course, retain Sadak, retain less, and, well, see where they go from there. So, yeah, Pankada, I got health issues, I don't think I could play this split. Here comes Sadak, and, this got lots of traction. It was tweeted multiple times from multiple different sources, and it was funny regardless of the occasion. This, by the way, is an update that I thought should have probably been the case a very long time ago, but it finally arrived in patch 8.11. There will be no map pool restrictions for the following modes. So for unrated, swift play, spike rush, or escalation, everything is there. So Pearl will be there, Fracture will be there, like every map in the game will be available to play in those game modes. Now, you could also argue this could be the same thing for competitive as well, and you should be able to, choose what map you play, kind of like in Counter-Strike or something, which would be interesting. I suppose there's also the possibility of doing some sort of voting situation where you go into a game and then the guy is, you're able to vote between two maps or something, and if you don't like either map, you can vote for a random map, like how it used to be in Call of Duty back in the day. So, I don't know, interesting idea. I'm kind of surprised it took so long for this to be the thing, but even as we said yesterday, there is, not an obsession, but they're just adding lots of new maps into the game, right? Split is going to be gone, Breeze is going to be gone, Haven's coming back in, and then there's another new map coming in, right? But it doesn't feel long ago that we've had Fracture and Pearl and Lotus and Sunset and all these maps. And now there's another one coming in. So, you can argue that their time might be better spent refining the existing maps and making them better for competitive than creating new ones. But, look, I don't really mind either way. It's just when you end up with 12, 13, 14 maps in the pool and you can only pick 7 to play in competitive, then, are you really going to get the best 7 the whole time? What say do the players have? Not much is the answer on that one. So I thought I'd mention it because it was something that I was thinking about. These some scrim bucks as well, just some quick ones, and we've only got 4 rounds here played so far, but it's just notable at least that the Sentinels guys, Gen.G, Zelsys 10s, back in action, getting the scrims back underway, playing up against Oxygen, right? So Redux, Dapper, and those guys down 4-0. Now, don't know how it ended, don't know how it continues, but thought it was worthy of mention briefly regardless, because I thought it was rather interesting. A couple of other roster things, especially on the NRG side we're going to get to in a second. So Gorilla is now going to get promoted to the head coach of Vitality. This, I suppose, was somewhat expected, but they are going to need to take some steps in the right direction, as is the case with Team Secret as well. So we saw they got rid of their coach the other day. They've now welcomed Dummy as their head coach. He actually joined as their assistant coach not long ago, and now he's going to step up to the head coach, and the rebuild begins here, they say. They weren't far off, Secret, from actually being a competitive force, but they just weren't good enough to get over the line to qualify for Shanghai, so they're going to make major changes. This is now what we are seeing. So Dummy is in as the head coach. Impressive knowledge and great work ethic. We fully trust him to take us to the next level. And it's not just that they've done. So they dropped a couple of players. We saw that Wild Oreo was linked to these guys the other day. And now 2GE, or however it's better to be pronounced, is coming into the team as well. So this to me is, maybe somewhat surprising. But they're building around some young players. Obviously, a couple of players are gone. So, they're building around a new roster. And a former RRQ player, of course, is coming into the team there. So, yeah, honestly, pretty cool piece of content as all these guys put together to announce their team, and honestly wishing the best for them in the turnaround, because, their previous roster wasn't cutting it. Whether the changes they've made are actually a good idea or not, I'm not so convinced, but I guess it's worth a try as far as they're concerned. So, we'll see how Team Secret perform from here on out, but they have officially now made those changes. But this is NRG. They've not officially made any changes yet, but they are talking about what they might potentially do. Here here we have Victor in the background, we have Crashies, we have Ethan, and in the foreground we have a pixelated character that many people recognize immediately, and is of course LeBron James. So here he is in the foreground. So this is the image they put up. Now this is actually quite telling to me, especially in line with some of the other evidence we have of yesterday as to what they're actually going to do, because Ethan is still here, Crashies and Victor are still here. They're a duo, right? So I don't really expect that Victor and Crashies, if one of them's going to leave, both of them will probably leave. They go back a long way with Chet, the coach of the team. And this is why the two players that we don't see. Marved we know is gone. We're pretty convinced Marved is gone. He's made that quite clear himself, even though it's not been made official by the team. But where is Demon 1, right? Is Demon 1 still here? I don't know. And Demon 1 does not have the relationship with those guys because he's not been around so long. Sure, he knows Ethan well from the Evil Geniuses days, won a world championship with him. But, you know, does he have the relationship with Chet? If things have gone wrong internally, is Demon 1, you know, on like a yay career arc? I don't really think so. But still worth at least thinking about. No Marved, no Demon 1 in the picture. So what are they going to do? Because a one-man move may be enough, but it also may not be enough to make this team the right way they want it to be. So this was seen yesterday on, well, his Valorant tracker. Here's s0m playing a game. It was 13-3, comfortable on Breeze. Of course, Breeze is going to be gone soon, but it is what it is. 25-minute game, so they absolutely slapped around the other team. But Ethan, Victor, Crashies with s0m. So surely you can't tell me that there's absolutely nothing in this at all, especially in light of some of the other evidence and the fact that s0m is on the controller and is like absolutely emphatically on the controller, regardless of the circumstances at the moment. Of course, the role that Marved plays, the role that s0m would play, and the role that he would, of course, be stepping in to replace. So, s0m spotted with all of these guys, surely it's got to mean something. And also, if you look at his Valorant tracker overall, you see all of these games, such as this one that we just mentioned. Viper, Omen, Brimstone, Omen, you know what I mean? Like, if you look back over the last several days, Astra's in here as well. Everything that he's plays, basically back until, since this was rumoured, has been all on the controllers. So, tough for me to imagine there isn't at least something in this. And even therefore, yesterday, as NRG tweet out, oh, who's scrimming with us, I wonder who it could potentially be. s0m's like, hey, it's my one last day off, the grind starts back up again tomorrow, right? So, do we believe s0m? Is this just baiting? It could be bait, right? It could be bait. But if it is, it's quite well orchestrated bait from the NRG guys. And I don't know what they do instead, right? Because if Marvin is gone, which we think he is, they need a controller player. s0m's kind of there, isn't he? So it makes sense in some respects, but it still may not happen. The other thing that a couple of guys pointed out to me as well, which I thought was interesting, is that these are the watch parties for Shanghai. And of course, we have the various regions. These are the ones, though, from North America, so the English streamers. We have, of course, the notable ones. Tarek is here, Kaide is here, FNS is here, among others. But there's no s0m, right, who, of course, would be a top co-streamer. Now, of course, it's difficult for these guys timing-wise. Of course, Shanghai is not the optimal time zone, probably, for, you know, being based in North America. But these guys can find a way to make it work. But at the end of the day, there's no s0m here. Either he said, you know what, I prefer not to because of the time zones, or I'd prefer not to because I'm scrimming with NRG and I'm going to play with these guys and therefore I can't make it work. So obviously like Mel here as well. So just interesting to think about whether this actually could potentially be a thing in the very near future. And I wouldn't be surprised if it is. But I guess the other point is if s0m is joining for Marved, is Demon 1 still there? Like, are they doing anything else? Is a one-man move enough? Like Marved for s0m? Does that move the needle enough to me to make their team a contender? I don't know. It's another version of a similar team that may work, but does it resolve their weaknesses? Not so clear. So very much intrigued to your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. But we've also got to talk about what's been happening in Shanghai, because the tournament, the Swiss stage, is now officially underway, and we had G2 versus T1. This was a bit of a shocking series, you know, like obviously I woke up and watched some of the highlights because it started 4 AM on the time zone that I'm currently in, so I wasn't up to watch the entire thing here, but Leaf had a great series in this one. The unfortunate thing is, being based in China, is that for some reason, again, you don't get the full API. So the Chinese matches, you guys have noticed this and we've talked about it on the videos, you don't get the ratings, you don't get all the details, right? The ADR and these other factors. You get the ACS, the kills, the deaths, the assists, but you don't get anything else. And it is unfortunate because you can't do, you know, proper analysis, proper ratings and stuff based on the numbers because you don't have first kills, first deaths, you don't have some of the other factors. So it's unfortunate, but I don't know, for whatever reason, coming out of China, you only get some of the data. But G2 won the map 1 on the Breeze. You then, however, got a dominant performance from T1. Like, both of these teams are kind of questionable to me. Rossi went 20-5 on the game 2, and T1 looked like in prime position to take this series. They then go up 9-3 at the half on Lotus, and then they bottle it, right? So this is like, I don't know, it's G2. They tried to throw this series at some points, but T1 and the Pacific teams just like throw it even harder, I guess. I don't really know, man. This was a rough one, and, you know, going down 9-3 both halves, sure, it's defensive-sided, but still, to go down from 9-3 up, to go to overtime and to lose the overtime, a rough one. But G2 get the victory, they advance in the tournament, and they will continue in the bracket. This, though, is fascinating right now. FPX versus FIT Esports. Game 1, FPX have just taken 13-7 on the Sunset. By the time this video goes live, this series may be over. We shall see. FPX are bringing a nice little comeback here on the Lotus right now. FIT Esports, obviously the big favourites for this series, but FPX in front of the home crowd there in China seem to be delivering a pretty stellar performance as it stands, and it would be really fun for me to see if this is the event where the Chinese teams kind of, you know, finally come good on the international stage for FPX and for Edward Gaming both. Of course, they've also got a Dragon Ranger Gaming there, but, you know, realistically, it's probably going to be FPX or Edward who are going to do some damage in this tournament. This is the Swiss system though, right? So of course, win 2 before you lose 2, you go through. These are the other matches, of course, coming up tomorrow. So very much interested your thoughts on all this stuff in the comment section below. Hit the like button if you enjoyed. Subscribe if you're new. Take care, and I'll see you next time.